Welcome viewers, 18-footer racing, Sydney Harbour, the Camera Cat New South Wales Championship Race 3, Sunday, December 6, 2020. 19 shopping days till Christmas. I'm Andrew Buckland. With me today on the Camera Cat, Lisa Dunmannon of Olympic NACRA notoriety, Vaughan Wooldridge steering the ship, Anthony Rose on the Ronin, John O'Witty, AeroMeda, and Michael Chittenden. Shiny looking Sydney Harbour today, Lise, and some odd climate conditions over the last week or two, but today pretty delicious.
Super puffy and a bit of everything out here today. A lot less than last week, but still the conditions are varied between 10 and 20 knots westerly. So lots of tacking today and some tricky race course to navigate, including a lovely Navy ship.
Indeed. But fairly favourable conditions in a sense that with the westerly wind, and I'll talk about the weather in more detail in a minute, but pretty solid westerly flow, which probably 12 to 25 will cover the wind range. But the tide right now at full height and the ebb tide about to flow with the wind. So fairly smooth water, and mostly the powerboats and other Sydney Harbour pleasure users hiding behind the headlands and enjoying the bright sunshine, and water temperature coming up a little as well towards 21, 22 now as the summer heat gets into us. Two Navy ships leaving the harbour. They'll be gone by the time our fleet is on the start line. The committee has put up course flag 5, which is a conventional track, beat up towards the harbour bridge more or less. Probably a fairly tight reach across towards the southern shore at Clark Island, and then a fairly short VMG run back to the vicinity of the start line. Second lap, just a windward leeward, so no jibe mark. And the last lap is just a beat and a reach to the finish. So we're expecting some pretty good footage and a certain casualty rate.
Yeah, that reach leg is going to be super interesting. It's right at the angle where you've got to decide whether it's just on jib or you go the spinnaker up. So for the first guys around, it'll be an interesting call and to see who follows after that. But it is really going to depend. The wind, since we've been out here for about half an hour, has been flicking around between the right and the left. So it should be quite a shifty course, and depending on what shift you are around that top mark, you might be able to carry a spinnaker.
Yeah, but interestingly also, Lisa, the windward mark up under the shoreline and the high ground of North Sydney and the high towers of North Sydney, so pretty extensive wind shadow up near the top mark, can be known to be difficult, and the best approach is almost invariably on the port tack ley line. But some pretty experienced crews in the fleet, and let's just have a look at that, because we're seeing you know, the winner of the first heat, Jack McCartney, and his team on Tech 2. Jack McCartney with the same crew every week of this season. Charlie White and Lewis Brake. Some new faces on the Smeg today. Steve Thomas and Tommy Anderson. Steve Thomas, highly regarded mainsheet man. And the return of the fleet on Appliances Online, Brett Van Munster, the boat builder. Joel Turner on the mainsheet and Brandon Bynick in the bow. Now, Lisa, fair few of the guys did the Cabbage Tree Island race.
Tired eyes.
Yeah, qualifier for the Hobart 180 miler, which started on Friday night, and the race actually pretty slow. Fair few of the guys on Info Track, and they won the race line honours, and also IRC. So the event favoured the big boats because of the way the weather conditions played out. Sean Langman and his guys on his 60-footer with Josh Probeski also assisting, and Ed Powers. Who else was out there? Some of the other boys from...
Sam Newton was on
Sam
there.
Newton and some of the gluttons for punishment did that race on Friday towards Saturday and then went Etchell sailing or something silly. Don't know. But good work up for the Hobart and good exposure. And traditionally the 18-footer fleet does supply a reasonable proportion of the top end of the Hobart cruise.
It's good to see most boats are out here today, all rigged and ready to go on shore. There wasn't many people missing, so it should be an exciting race, and hopefully everyone's repaired their boats from last week, if necessary.
Yeah, only I think Finport Finance missing for this week. I think some crew absent. Some COVID restrictions still in Australia, so travel not completely deregulated, and that prospect is for us over the next few days. So just back to the weather, we've had, and yesterday was odd. There's a big low pressure cell, to the south of us. Very intense 990 hec low, but the wind we've got here today appears to be driven by a combination of that and a little trough which is sitting more or less on the South New South Wales coast. But there are some parts of the New South Wales coast with sea breeze in operation today, notably at Coffs Harbour and Montague Island. Almost unbelievable when you look at the solidarity of the flow here in Sydney. There's about a 300-mile wide strip of hard westerly, and then either side of that is a bit of nor'east, so quite extraordinary.
We are quite lucky though, because the forecasts weren't for much breeze at all. We were gearing up for a 6-knot westerly, but we've got definitely more than that. Yeah,
the wind models didn't get this one right for whatever reason, and some of the models had it in fact nor'east by 4 o'clock and very light, so a very, very weak sea breeze lifting the westerly up in the air, as it were. And, one of the features of this course also, Lisa, the bottom mark is tricky to lay into down near where we are at the start line, and refraction from the wind chop off the seawall at Point Piper, made worse today by the high tide. So pretty bouncy, and there has been known to be incidents and accidents near the bottom market in the takedown and the dial-up zone. So we'll look forward to that a bit.
Not much room for error.
No, it's usually quite fine. So the fleet slowly gathering. Nobody in a big rush to get out. Bit of traffic still, but that will be gone. Both the Navy boats and the Manly ferry. So expecting to be pretty clean shot at the first beat.
It will be nice. So this is the second race of the season which hasn't been a handicap race, so race 3 of the third race. So it'll be nice for some of the teams that have had that handicap racing to really see how they measure up when all things are equal.
Yeah, this would be a pretty good test for third rig and for boat handling. Check in, see how you're travelling. There will be use of the riding lever. We're pretty certain about that. Strong favourite on shore is Tech 2, backing up their win in the first heat, and they're pretty commanding performances in this sort of wind speed. Signals up on the committee vessel. 5 minuten.
So I think the key in a start like this is to be able to have freedom to tack on a day like today. If you want to roll, you want to have that freedom to tack. So it'll be interesting. Right now it's a fairly even line, but it's really going to depend on the shift at the time.
Yeah, and the breeze tends to arrive in pulses, and they're sort of rolling puffs really. But the fair bit of port bias on the beat, so the ability to get onto port tack not too far into the race is going to be quite important. Also tide relief on the right edge, not so on the left edge. So a couple of reasons to be getting right at least a bit early. But as we've said, history tells us the port tack lay line into the windward mark. So we're seeing some early casualties. Couple of boats already on the riding lever, Rag and Femish and Winning Group being seen in the lying down position, we'll call it.
It is quite tricky out here. Like right now we're sitting in a puff of about 8 knots, but in about a minute we'll be hit with 20. So, you know, all eyes have to be out of the boat on a day like today, getting ready for the puffs. And, you know, when you're just chilling before a start line, you know, head might be in the boat having a chat about what the game plan is. But, you know, if you get hit by a big puff like this, it can be all over pretty quickly in a skiff.
Yep, heads up stuff. That is dead right. I think, yeah, we'll see. But just coming towards 3 minutes. Yep. 3 minutes now. So nobody racked up. People sort of conserving themselves. Noakes and the committee again done a great job. I think the line looks pretty fair to me. Give everybody a shot. Little keelboat.
Just off the screen at the moment, we've got Vintech really tucked up in the bay under there, trying to find some protected weather. So I could only guess that maybe they're trying to fix something over there.
They're just hiding from the wind, Lisa, I think.
Timed 3-minute run from Mossman Bay.
Well, that's right, exactly.
Minimise manoeuvres.
A couple of little keelboats coming through the course area, all good.
Winnings are back up right now, and so are Rag and Famish. So they should be ready to start. 2 minutes to go.
So we see Tech 2 just sailing up towards this end of the start line. Yandu also. Winning Group behind the committee boat now. Couple of blokes aren't going to get here. Rag and Femish back upright. But having to do a bear away on the face of a puff to get down to the line. 1:30. Noakes Group done a great job of wasting time. They've been stationary for the thick end of 2 minutes.
Looks like they're all sort of lining up the pin nice and slowly, slow approach to the line.
Keelboat in a bit of bother at the other end on port with a spinnaker up and the rudder out of the water. What could possibly go wrong? I can tell you something.
That's definitely not how to do it.
1 minute. So lining up from the leeward end, Kitchen Maker, Noakes, Tech 2, Noakes Blue, Smeg, Andu, Yandu, Winning Group hard right at the committee boat. And I think that's a sensible start, actually, Liz. Give yourself some options, yeah? Pay a little cost maybe, but at least have a lane and have an escape route.
There should be plenty of overtaking opportunities today. Shouldn't see a soldier's course, but we are gearing up in the last couple of seconds of the start now.
Bit unusual to have your start interrupted by a broached keelboat, but it's happening as we speak. 15 seconds. They're pulling the trigger. Smeg sheeted on, going. Tech 2 sheeted on as well. Not at full speed. Beautiful, guys. And Winning Group, a charm. Beautiful.
Very clear start. Everyone was back off the line there, no worries at all. Winning Group, interestingly, decided to start up the line. So they will have the first cross on the boats that are hitting the point over there.
So Breeze just gone back to the left a little. Winning Group probably leading. Tech 2. Tech 2 stepping out from the leeward pin. Fantastic. So the boats right now in a puff, 20, 22 knots of wind, perhaps a little more. All travelling pretty comfortably though.
Tech 2 is definitely looking good in the middle, but Kitchen Maker has legged out from getting that pin start, but they're going to have quite a bit on to be able to tack across the fleet, I think they've got a bit on here. Winning group still looking strong with that windward position.
Yep.
They've just got options, which I think is quite nice. But as you picked it, Bucko, that left-hand side of the course seems to be where everyone else is agreeing to go.
I think we should put the picture of Tech 2 in a coaching manual, Lisa. Perfect little windward heel. Any coach watching that would be very happy, wouldn't they? Fantastic.
Using everything they've got on that boat to go forward, and I think that's why they've been winning so many races this season.
Yeah. And they just, and winning group early tack, nice. Nice, just bail out before you have to bail.
They're picking their lane to get across, I guess. If they went any further, they might be subject to some getting tacked on by those boats that have started down the pit. So yeah, just following winning group on the screen at the moment. Still, we're probably got a long windward leg ahead of us still. It does look like it does get a little bit light far left. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw winning group come back to get back in touch with the fleet in a little bit. So the fleet that we will reconnect with in just a moment have also all tacked over and heading back towards the right-hand side of the course, with the kitchen maker looking pretty good in a very powerful position. So that pin start really has paid off. Tech 2 rolling over Noakes at the moment, so they have done well off that start. And there is another boat.
No, go that way.
On your screen that we will come to that looks like they're leading, but they look like they've just actually come out of the harbour, so not sure what's going on there. I'll keep my eyes peeled for you and give you an update. Yep, so they're going for a...
Yeah, Birkenhead Point didn't start yet.
Yeah. So very, very annoying when you're getting a little bit of dirty air from a boat that hasn't yet started. But they're on their way down now. Winning's in a very good lefty on the right-hand side now.
Pretty fresh again. Tech 2 leading from this edge. Winning group leading the other edge. And they look pretty even, Lise. What do you think?
If I had right now, I think I'd want to be winning group on the right-hand side, but it is a westerly and anything can happen. I just think it got a little bit soft under Clark Island there and winning group legged out a bit, but it will be pretty close to the top. Tech 2 legging out from the left-hand side boats.
Yeah. Now, here's what happens a bit here. Winning group into a little header on the right edge. But Tech 2 really fast through the water too, Lisa, yeah?
They're looking good rolling over Noakes there. But Noakes doesn't really have any choice but to keep heading to the right-hand side. And right is looking good. So I think they're just taking the loss now rather than digging out. Kitchen Maker, who is to windward of Noakes, which you just can't see in the screen, but they were looking good and they're falling into their stern. So yeah, right-hand side is looking like it is paying at the moment. All eyes are on Yandu at the moment on your screen there, keeping up. We're going to head over to the right-hand side shortly and catch up with winning group, but it will still be... It's going heavily right shift at the moment, so right-hand side are legging out, but there are plenty of overtaking lanes in a Sydney westerly.
Yeah, this race won't be won or lost in the first lap, will it? But it looks like the next bit of wind is hard left. This big puff we're in now, where the camera cat is, we're about 50 metres from winning group. Hard left, very fresh, very fresh.
So I'm expecting them to tack pretty soon because there is a bit of a line of no pressure if they go too much further. Consolidate the gains. Just trying to get eyes on the top mark. So still a fair little bit to go to the top.
Yeah, we're about halfway up the beat. But the breeze hard in the left, so on the outside of this puff. He's down there, we're right.
Getting a little soft here where we are with Winning, so traps up and bow down. So wouldn't be surprised if we see them flick. They're going to run out of pressure if they keep going. A little puff on their bow in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, Winning Group has to set up attack here.
That's their ticket out of here, cross the fleet and consolidate those gains.
In no wind, Luce. Oh, indeed.
Should have gone about a minute prior, I think. But it should be easy cross.
Easy to say on the camera cut, isn't it?
It's way easier when you're not on the boat.
Yeah. So, Winning Group leads from Tech 2, Kitchen Maker, pretty even. So, Kitchen Maker from the hard left has come out quite well.
Yeah, so they were the most pinned boat and went the furthest left, and they've actually crossed Tech 2, actually going for the lee bow. Tech 2 rolling over the top of them, easy does it. So
Good luck with that, Liz.
Hard boat to lee bow.
1840 you cannot. It's just not possible, right?
The tacks take too long, or yeah, that's what it is.
Pretty hard to judge. You're better off ducking or tacking way sooner, you know. Anyway.
Interesting that they've all chosen to lead back left when they've got the crossing option. So plenty more pressure coming out of the left-hand side now.
Well, more pressure down the middle of the river, I think, Liz. Just a bit of a funnel through the middle of the harbour bridge, more or less, and less, and you know, more volatile on the right edge in particular. You know that. The top of the towers in North Sydney, and on the hill behind North Sydney, up to about 500 feet, 150 metres above the sea level, and plenty of disturbance to the breeze on the right-hand side near the top mark.
So on your screen now, we've got Winning Group, who are happily covering the fleet, but on a day like today, covering is not that ideal because it's so patchy. You sort of need to sail your own race, and it's short-term gains, but you really need to think about what's your long-term strategy. What approach do you want to the top mark? So Bucko has clued that a port approach is probably what they're wanting, which is why we've seen them go back early. So I think they'll take it all the way to the island and then flick over and head back to the right-hand side.
Yeah, minimise execution, minimise risk, keep the thing upright, and you'll get on the podium. So Tech 2's made a pretty solid gain there, Liz.
Yeah, Winning Group just got caught a little bit too much in the light pressure, and it is actually getting light again over this side. So we've got a few boats further back in the fleet that have chosen to tack back and head to the right early. Winning Group giving Tech 2 a little bit of a lee bow luff, but Tech 2 going pretty fast in a straight line. So they've got a little bit on, if you're on Winning Group, to keep those guys behind you.
Yeah, on the face of a big puff, left-handed wind. Fantastic. And another little spike of about 20 knots there. Perhaps a little more. And then nicely up on toward the ley line.
It's not the greatest position for Tech 2 to be in right now. There's not a lot that they can do. Being so close to the ley line, they don't really have the option to tack out, but you can see they've just got the speed on Winning Group, but as they get closer and closer, they're going to get more and more dirty air. So it's going to be tricky to keep that pole out of away from Herman's neck.
Yeah, no, they're not quite that close together, at least fortunately, but Winning Group trying everything they can to squeeze them out, but Tech 2 notorious for being able to sail high and slow. Struggling a bit now, though.
Getting a bit lighter now. And we're about 300 metres off the top mark. So yep. Winning Group should get the clear tack around. And what do you reckon? We're going to see shoots around this top mark, Bucko?
No. With a shoot up, they'd lay straight back down to the bottom mark. And so they'll two sail for a while, I think. Either that or they set straight away and pull her off. But just depends how much wind there is at the mark. As you can see, now that we can see the mark,
it's pretty soft up here, but they are going to get into more pressure. How hard is it to reach an 18-foot skiff, Bucko? To sail reach an 18-foot skiff?
Toughest job in the world, particularly with a sheet hand. No, they're tough because the apparent wind just roars around the place.
But it's really, really soft at the top mark here. It is, if it was easy, you'd set the chute and then drop it again, but it's a bit of a handful to get up and down.
Yeah, and the next set can't be too good. And we just saw Winning Group tack in the face of a puff and really struggle with a big header. Oh.
In about a minute, we have a huge puff about to hit them. So these guys are just going to be hanging on and waiting for this pressure to hit. Crawling around the mark now. But they will be in plenty of pressure in about 30 seconds.
And Winning Group doing the bear away puff on them. They're going to set though by the look of that. Yep, they're setting. Tech 2 at the mark in a hurricane. Can't get the bear away done. And then there's no wind. A minute later, there's no wind. How about that? Got the bear away done. All good.
Kitchen
Wow.
Maker coming around third. Yandu
Fantastic.
coming around fourth. It is patchy as anything up here. Everyone's just trying to keep the boat balanced, but everyone is going for the Spinnaker at the moment. Next in line, we've got a tight top mark with Noakes and Smeg. Noakes just creeping their
So the
boat around.
The breeze lighter and lifted now, so the setting and shoot's been the right answer. Winning Group off, laying the jibe mark at full noise. Tech 2 now in the same puff. Very spiky though, isn't it, Liz?
You want to be rounding at the right time, that's for sure. So
About which you have how much control? Apparently nil.
So we have
Right,
Winning Group
so-
leading, Tech 2 in second, Kitchen Maker is in third, Yandu in fourth. Fifth, it looks like Smeg. Sixth is Noakes. Seventh is Appliances Online. And then we're going to have a close eighth with Andu and ninth with Rag and Famish, with Vintech set up to round 10th.
And I'll tell you another boat that's gone missing somewhere along the track is Royal Oak Four Pines. So they're not in evidence here. But difficult day execution-wise. The two strongest teams, first and second at the windward mark, as you'd probably expect on a day like a very difficult day like today.
Rag and Famish, the skipper just holding on there, just hoping they're going to get a puff at the right time. And they are off and away with the kites up. Plenty more pressure coming over their shoulder now. And we've got Vintech rounding the top mark in 10th place. Bit of a younger team on Vintech.
And they're going to struggle to bear away on the face of this puff. But little 12-footer state titles on today. And at least now looking downwind down the track, we can see that they're not laying in the puff. We can, right away in the distance, we can see Appliances well to leeward of the jibe mark. The leader's able to get to the jibe mark.
So big shift for the roundings. When the leaders came around, it was really light and they were able to gain a bit of height and then set the chute. But 6th to 10th rounding in lots of pressure, they're going to have to drop, round up and bear away again. And here we go, Lazarus coming round in 12th, with Noakes Blue in 11th, and Shaw and Partners coming in behind us in 13th. So we'll chase the fleet down to that jibe mark and try catch up with them, which is pretty tricky on a camera cat with these 18-foot skiffs in full brunt in 18 plus knots.
Yep.
As we're heading down, the leaders are actually looking quite soft under Clark Island, while those that were in the later five are actually still hauling their way down. So it could be a little bit more congestion at that jibe mark than we originally thought. Right now we are eyes on Vintech, they're almost laying the bottom mark at the moment.
They're having a good ride, but not exactly in the right direction.
Are they better off getting deep and then coming up, or should they be thinking about dropping soon and reaching back up now?
Should be in the bag right now.
They're already late.
Yeah. Yep.
In the big waves coming for us.
That's all right.
They're having such a good run. They're just heading straight down.
The Vintech on fire, but they've got to get it off. Oh.
we'll flick over to the jibe mark in a second, but just for the viewers, winning group has rounded no problems around the jibe mark, heading to the bottom in first, with Tech 2 in second, and the rest of the fleet all coming together. And interestingly, those that rounded early in third and fourth have actually lost a lot compared to the other boats that came around in that more pressure. So, you know, the places are changing dramatically on a race course like today. And it looks like Andu is going to actually be rounding in third, where Kitchen Maker and Yandu have lost about 3 boats in that downwind. Rag and Famish on your screen now, upside down. They had a huge puff and had to drop to make that jibe mark, and it hasn't gone well for them.
Well, and Vintec got their drop done okay, not on screen. Andu, the big maker on that leg, as Lisa pointed out, just got a good puff and rode it all the way to the jibe mark.
Interestingly though, Smeg has decided to go further past the jibe mark. Not sure if that was tactical or not, but maybe saving that extra jibe down the bottom. Andu on your screen now having an absolute ball. They should get to the bottom mark in front, as long as it does actually look like there will be a second jibe to lay the bottom. So Smeg, who decided to go further down instead of jibe at the jibe mark, may make huge gains without having to do those 2 extra manoeuvres. So the Kitchen Maker round in third at the top, and they've lost 4 boats on the downwind, so they've got a bit of catching up to do. They won't be happy with that.
Yeah, so the committee's laid the bottom mark in sort of the middle of the Rose Bay, fairly accessible in fact. Couple of jibes in through the Dardanelles here. Shark Island, a nice little obstacle.
So we've got eyes on Noakes at the moment, which actually rounded the top mark in about 7th. So they've made huge gains. Appliances Online has jibed on our inside and has a great angle down to the bottom. So huge angle changes on a day like today, and it also depends on what sort of pressure that you're in. There's boats capsized all over the place here.
So at the bottom, after a frantic run, winning group and Tech 2 separated by about 3 boat lengths. Pretty impressive stuff. Few old heads coming to the fore here. Smeg come from middle of the fleet to third. Andu, Marcus Ashley Jones on the stick, will be 4th. Noakes will be 5th, I think, subject to the last jibe. Wow, what a run.
So winning group and Tech 2 were about that far apart at the top mark, and then that far apart at the bottom mark.
Yep.
Noakes going for the early jibe back into that bottom mark, give them plenty of room to bear away into an easy drop. Kitchen Maker making up some ground, pushing closer to Shark Island, but still not enough to gain any places after the jibe mark.
Yep, some pretty good handling there from those crews. The top 6 looking pretty good.
Noakes, easy early drop. They'll be really comfortable for this mark rounding. So will Andu. Sorry, that was Smeg. No problems on Smeg today, and huge gains by going further into Point Piper.
Yep. So Crocco back on the stick. Stevie Thomas in the middle. Tommy Anderson in the bow. Pretty good combo. Fair bit of experience there. And likewise, Andu, Marcus Ashley Jones, Cam Gundy and Reese Mara. The experienced heads coming to the fore. Noakes with Josh Preveski in the bow.
Yeah, Andu losing a lot on that downwind. They were 4th at the top mark, so I'm not sure where that all went wrong, but I think it was just luck of the draw with the puff that you rounded with.
Yeah, no, Woody was just being a bit conservative, I think, Lise. He typically favours not pressing too hard, and sometimes that costs you, you know, but he's upright.
Conservatism paid off last week, but might have to be a little bit more adventurous today.
That's right. It's so I guess it's fair to say the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The top 8 boats are the only boats that haven't been on the riding lever at the end of one lap. So, but it's a tough lap, isn't it? I mean, that was a epic run, I would say.
It's very tricky to navigate, especially on a day like today where you're not really, it's the first lap of the course, you're not sure whether it's spinnakers or not, but it was happily spinnakers, but it really depended when you rounded. So now everybody knows for the next reaching mark that it is spinnakers up, but we don't have a reach for the next lap. It's straight up and straight back down, so there'll be plenty of room to choose your jibe, stay in the pressure and keep that speed on.
Yeah, and the next leg will be a bit easier because no jibe mark to have to deal with. But interesting, wasn't it? One puff plus or minus makes a huge difference. And the guys that got round the mark in the headed puff gained, probably 40 seconds.
Easy 40 seconds. And right now it looks like they are all heading towards the point to use that shift to bounce back off it. So we are expecting probably now that they've done the lap to sort of know what to do, but Tech 2 will be pushing pretty hard on Winning Group's heels to try gain, but it is still really puffy out here and there still will be opportunities to overtake. But what's nice to see is the top 2 are a bit legged out, but the next 5 are all really, really close together, so plenty of opportunities for those 5 boats to really battle it out. Noakes Blue just tipping over there, unfortunately, in that jibe. Huge puff that they're in, and we've got Vintech trying to do that jibe at the moment too. They look like they're going to pull it off but they've got to avoid Noakes Blue, so everyone is in the boat there, just get around the capsized boat and then they'll heat it back up into VMG mode. So quite close in the lagging 4 though, so they've still got a good battle on them. Battle on their hands.
All good. In the Dardanelles, here we are. So where we are on the camera cat, just near Point Piper, the fleet just bashing their way upwind. Wind now just turned left a bit, and it's gotten warmer. So the air temperature, as we said before the start, every bit of 30 degrees.
So we're looking at Andu and Smeg at the moment. What's really interesting is that Andu look fast through the water, but Smeg looks a bit stalled through the water, like sailing a bit higher and slower.
Yeah, Smeg not enough twist by the look of it.
Has everyone got the same sail set up today?
Sorry?
The sail set up today is the same across the whole fleet?
Yeah, everybody's got a little rig in. But, yeah, Smeg trying to sail with not that much twist, Andu with plenty of twist. So this speed will be a little bit easier, a few more options for everybody, long legs. I think they're going to ignore the tide and just minimise the tax.
It looks like everyone's just bouncing off the points. It's a race to every point on the harbour, and that's because there's usually a pretty nice shift on the other side of it.
Yeah, but if we look upwind now, we think that Tech 2 might be leading, yes, Liz? What do your eyes tell you?
Oh, I think it'll be a close cross between the 2 boats. Winning Group coming across now, but there was a big right shift when they tacked, a bit of an auto tack there for Tech 2, so Winning Group is going to be rolling over the top of them, but it is a tight battle up the front. It's getting very light on this right-hand shore behind that point, so if I was a bit further back in the fleet and I could see this happening, I'd definitely try tack out a bit earlier and try close the gauge on the leaders. Really nice pressure coming around this point at the moment. It'll be hiking hard on those trapezes.
Oh.
Tech 2 hitting the water hard. We're just panning over to them. Big knock for them and didn't quite catch it, and it looks like that is not recoverable.
Wow.
That is going to hurt.
That was a big stack. So Tech 2, they've saved it, sort of. The mast tip didn't hit the top of the water.
Trying to do the water start.
Yeah, like a windsurfer, but they just banged into 40-degree header, so the jib just went it back, and it doesn't matter what you do sometimes, it's just too, the volatility is just too great. So they'll get out and going again fairly quickly, but sometimes there's nothing you can do. Even if you've anticipated that it's going to be pretty bad, when the jib goes inside out, you lose steerage really quickly.
No exit strategies when you get a shift and a knock that hard, but looks like they're up in time and haven't lost second position, but they have lost a lot of distance on Winning Group, who have legged out. They did another 2 tacks whilst Tech 2 was upside down, so they're really making the most of the shifts and trying to sail the least distance possible.
So Winning Group, easy work for them now, but
but you said it first, Bucko, it's not going to be over yet.
No. That's right.
We just saw how quickly things can go wrong.
Yeah.
But they're just going to be wanting to sail their own race, stay on the lifted tack, and don't get too soft. Sounds simple when you put it that way.
No, that's right. But interesting now, the breeze is a bit softer overall, I've got the feeling, as the air's warmed up some more, yeah?
It's pulsing quite a lot every couple of minutes. You get this really soft section, which is what we saw at the top mark earlier, and surely soon enough, as soon as they try set their spinnakers and do the bear away, hopefully we'll see a bit more pressure. But Winning Group very light on your screen at the moment. Interestingly, they're tacking out of there because it's just too light. I was going to say that they went a bit too far in there last time, so I think they're going to get out there and head back into the middle of the racetrack where the breeze is funneling under the harbour bridge.
So the poor old Tech 2 back into the peloton, and Smeg just tacking off Bradley's in a good spot. Nice pressure, starboard tack. They might be second. Them and Yandu in the fight for second by the look of it.
There should be a close cross between Yandu and Smeg at the moment.
Yandu might be second.
So huge gains by Yandu up that beat so far.
Yeah.
I didn't quite see where they went, but Tech 2 going as close as they can to Bradley's head, flicking over now. Yandu clear cross on them, so they'll get into this pressure in about 15 seconds, and then we'll probably see them tack over and head back into that middle of the racetrack where there's more pressure.
Yeah, Tech 2 seems to have struggled a bit after the capsize. They haven't got really motoring again. Be a bit unsettling, but they've been so good in this strong stuff that I think they'll get going again.
Winning Group just tacking the way up the race course. They're pretty happy to not take too many knocks, that's for sure, and they've got the freedom to tack whenever they want. We've got Tech 2 coming across our bow now, but Smeg is in second at the moment. They look like they will cross Yandu, who pushed a little bit further into Bradley's head. Just got a little bit light, and Bucko's just pointed out, which you can see on your screen now, that those left-hand boats are looking very strong. So the 3 boats that were fighting on this right-hand side of the course got a bit soft, and those 3 boats up in the middle of your screen at the moment have made huge gains on that left-hand point, in more pressure and on a good angle too. Looks like Noakes will be in a comfortable second, and huge gains by Appliances Online, which will round at about 8th at that bottom mark.
Yeah, good battle here. Noakes Group second. Appliance Online and do all in the same bit of water. The right-hand side caved in pretty fully, didn't it?
It was all about pressure there. They just all got too soft. And what's interesting is the whole fleet was heading towards Clark Island on that first beat at huge gains, but those top boats didn't want to go there again. But There's obviously good pressure and shift over there because Noakes, Andu and Appliances Online made huge gains. It is very patchy out here. There's definitely 5 to 18 knots out here, I'd say.
Lisa, I think, the puff we're in here with Noakes, 20 knots right there, a little bit more, main inversion, but they're looking pretty strong, aren't they?
Yeah, and the big puffs, I can see the top of the jibs even flapping a little bit. Is that just because they're feathering it up into the breeze?
Oh.
There we go. There's the bad shift.
Cop the pain and a big squirt. Cruising catamaran in the way as well. Oh.
Disappointing for them, but they are still pretty comfortable in second. Big issues with that catamaran.
And I think, oh no, they saved it. Joshy saved that. Catamaran in the way. That's pretty disappointing. Oh well, they'll live to fight another day. But catamaran skipper should take a look at himself in the mirror. The name of the catamaran, Perfect Day. Hope you're having one, brother, because you just wrecked the other blokes.
It looked like there was even contact there, so hopefully everyone is okay. But
well, I mean, Lisa, here's the thing. It's a charter cat, right? It's supposed to be a skipper with qualifications and some knowledge. Did he exhibit any knowledge?
It's certainly, I think I said at the beginning of the day that it wasn't a busy day on Sydney Harbour, but you're just going to get one bloke in the wrong place at the wrong time. Huge pressure line coming down, so that pulse of breeze has come back for the top mark. Winning Group is still happily in the lead, who are on your screen at the moment.
Wow.
They're working this right-hand shore and they are basically on the ley line for the top mark, pending a 40-degree shift.
No. Oh, they might. It's gone hard right up the top. Wow, it's fresh. But, I mean, Lisa, this is a dangerous way to get to the top mark, so Winning Group done a good job, though.
There's quite a lot of pressure on this right-hand side. Those boats that did gain out of the left have chosen to transition to the right-hand side. Winning Group still happily in the lead, and it looks like it's going to be Smeg holding second after the Noakes little incident with the catamaran. It's not quite laying.
2 tacks.
2 tacks are going to be costly, but it's not going to cost them first place unless something goes horribly wrong.
So it's a big powerboat wash here too. Quite difficult here for the Winning Group. Wind speed above 20, probably 22 knots. And 2 short tacks in 100 metres. Not what you want to do.
But in saying that, Winning Group was out here last week practicing in those gnarly conditions, so maybe that practice is actually paying off.
Some epic footage of Sevi, the main sheet man, falling off last week and getting towed behind the wing for about 90 seconds in about 35 knots of wind. Pretty amazing.
They're almost on lay here, so should see them roll into attack. And then it is straight down to the bottom mark in Rose Bay. So no questions asked about whether or not to set that spinnaker for the Jai mark.
Yeah, unquestioned. And I've got a little lull to get round in, so they'd be happy with that.
It's always nice to have a lull for that bear away.
Yeah, he's amazing though, isn't it? Look at that. Breeze down to about 14 knots. Or perhaps 16. But nice lull to set in as well. It's happy days. So they're going to lead by about a minute. And Tech 2 is a long way down, aren't they? Oh, in the Winning Group, nearly in the tide. Wow. Smeg is going to be second by the look of that. And I think, the Smeg approach to the top here has seen them gain. They're slightly overstood on the port ley line, perhaps, but that's good. Except you've got to do a tack and a bear away, which is not quite so straightforward, but
it will take them a while to settle out of the tack and then go for the bear away. I think they'll sail upwind for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, dial up tack.
Full 180.
Yeah, full 180. It's not that easy. But they're pretty skilled outfit and plenty of jib back, plenty of wing in the water. Got the job done. That's about as good as you can do, yeah?
And a nice lull for the Barraway, so they'll be happy with that.
Yep.
But look at Andu's angle coming straight at that top mark. Yep. Not a lot of pressure, but they've got plenty of time. Same thing, tack and immediate Barraway. But it is quite light at the moment, but there is a big gust coming over our shoulder, so it's all going to be about timing for Andu. They're going to want to flick early and get that bow down quickly.
Oh, and they got tentative, and the wind didn't do them any favours.
Here we go, good pressure on now. They're going to have to settle before this Barraway, surely.
Yep. Plenty of jibber back to get it, the bow down, wing in the water to do the Barraway. They're fine.
Plenty of windward heel, that seems to be the trick.
Yep, chine in, rig over the windward side. Good technique. Wow.
They'll be pretty happy with third place. If we are looking down the course at the moment, winning group is in not much pressure at all, heading towards Clark Island, but Smeg is heading straight down the harbour in a magnificent puff. So luck of the draw is not playing in winning's favour at the moment.
A few snakes and ladders. Big snakes and ladders, actually, isn't it?
There's not much you can do about that, though. That's the frustrating part about sailing sometimes. Really close top mark at the moment between Yandu, Appliances Online, and just out of your screen we've got Tech 2 coming across on starboard. So it's all going to be a race for the Spinnakers up. And Yandu not quite getting around that mark. They'll be pretty disappointed with that, I'm sure. But a little bit of lack of communication there, you reckon?
Just came out of the tack a bit deep with all the banks still on, and easy to do though in this sort of wind.
Bad set by Appliances Online. Looks like that tack line hasn't gone out properly.
Yeah.
And they've got a huge puff coming over the shoulder, so they're going to want to hustle, getting it in now, and they'll be ripping that kite on. We might follow them down. They are laying at the moment, that bottom mark, but as we've seen, there's huge shifts, so they'll take all the depths possible and then just see what happens at the bottom of the course.
Smashing header. Breeze about 20 degrees left. Wind speed 25 knots. Tech 2 off to the races loose.
They needed a bit of luck after that capsize.
They did. They just got some. Wow, that's hot, isn't it? We're at full noise on the camera cat, making no inroads whatsoever on Tech 2.
The boys are just going in there on Appliances Online to avoid a 12-foot skip coming upwind. So it is about picking your moments on a day like today in Sydney Harbour. We are not going to catch Tech 2. They are absolutely hauling down the harbour at the moment. Further down the race course, I was a bit worried for Winning's group, but they have got a clear cross on Andu. But the distance has definitely closed between the peloton and Winning group. Appliances Online in plenty of pressure right at the back of the bus there, bouncing their way down the harbour with a huge powerboat coming straight towards them that they will need to go over the top of.
Yep, so out of all that, and Winning Group still leads, Tech 2 has climbed back onto the podium, or very close to. Wow, that was a beauty, wasn't it, Liz? Crikey.
It's all about timing. So who do we have on Appliances Online today, Bucko?
Britt Van Munster, Joel Turner and Brandon Barnett. So good to see Brett back, and he was looking forward to it.
They've sailed a fantastic upwind to get back into that position, rounding about 8th at the bottom mark.
Yep.
Right over our shoulder, which we are going to pan to in just a moment. We've got Noakes coming down after their little collision with that catamaran. So they look like they're at a lot higher angle than the boats that we were just on. So a bit disappointing for them, but when they jibe, they'll have a great angle down to the bottom. Not losing too much distance on the fleet there, but it is going to be tricky for them to navigate these ferry waves. Big, fast ferry waves coming up. Everyone hang on.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong, Lisa? We don't know, do we? Plenty is the correct answer.
Stand by to stand by.
They handled that pretty well, didn't they? Little intersection here, Noakes Blue coming up wind. Tricky stuff this. Oh my God. Both boats altering course a little bit, okay. Oh. No. And they my goodness. So Yvette perhaps didn't need to do that, should have just kept cranking. But a good little intersection anyway with the sponsor. Oh dear. So Noakes just going into the jibe and nicely done, good technique.
There's actually a lot less pressure down the bottom of the course here. Everyone is quite soft compared to at the top of their course. Noakes have a lot of ground to make up to get back in the fight for that upwind, but I am looking down the harbour for the viewers at home, and Tech 2 and appliances are online, round at the top mark together, and Tech 2 is probably 500 metres ahead by now, so there is a lot of straight line speed on that boat. We are now following the Kitchen Maker, who are navigating a lot of chop. But interestingly, they've got someone sitting in there, Bucko.
Yeah, they're sailing a little bit conservatively, which is, not completely inadvisable. Pretty bumpy, so Jordan Gertis not on the end of the rack, and Lachlan Doyle and Tom Quigley, the other young crew. But, you know, they're safe, but they don't look fast, and the Spinnaker looks pretty ordinary as well, doesn't it?
It's not that windy down here, so is it surprising that he's in the boat there?
No, not particularly.
Is that just get you a bit of a lower angle?
Yeah, lower angle, and you can get the crew slightly further aft because the guy sitting in's overlap with the main sheet man at the back of the wing. It's a bit safer. It's not faster, but it is safer. But their Spinnaker's, the luff's unstable, so they need to have a little recut or tighten the luff line or a bit of each. And that's not helping their cause, making it very difficult to trim.
I guess it's about keeping that bow up and out and getting those guys back to navigate all this confused chop in the harbour today.
Yeah, and the Point Piper jibe, notorious for the refraction off the vertical seawall. And they've got a big spectator of harbour ferry in the way as well. Hasn't helped them, but nothing too easy about this. Bumpy water, they have to jibe, but they have to try and get away from the big ferry as well, which casts a pretty significant wind shadow. Here they go. But they've done that before, and they made it look easy or not. Yes, they did.
The big back on the Spinnaker looks like that's pretty important for the jibe.
Yeah, that's the safety jibe, it's called, sort of. Seat on into the jibe and wait for the flow to reattach on the luff and then just gently heat it back up. So they did a pretty good job there because they're on the lay line to the bottom. No more jibes.
I guess their calculated risk is it's better. We're happy with this position. Let's just get around the bottom mark. No need to push it. As the Kitchen Maker's going down, you might see Winning Group just crossing, going upwind behind them now. So Winning Group is in the lead, but the gauge on the rest of the fleet has closed up dramatically. They really lost out, not getting that huge puff around the top mark. So it looks like Winning Group is in first, Smeg is in second. Tech 2 and Andu neck and neck, but I think Tech 2 is in third, Andu in fourth. Appliances Online in fifth, Noakes in sixth, and Kitchen Maker will be coming in seventh. And then we have huge separation to the rest of the fleet.
And there, those 7 boats, the only boats that haven't haven't been on the riding lever, except Tech 2's looking like they'll get a podium despite having been on the riding lever. Fantastic day. But, tough lay into the bottom mark, narrow space between the Island and Point Piper. Awkward angle into the bottom mark here, port rounding. Difficult to get the last jibe in right, and you just saw Kitchenmaker do a pretty good job of that.
So we have got a race up to the top mark and then a reach to the finish at Clark Island. There's still potential for a lot of places to change, as we saw up the last beat. Winning's pretty happy covering a loose cover on the rest of the fleet at the moment. Tech 2 choosing to lead back right a little bit earlier than Smeg, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here, but I think there is way more pressure in the left. It's just going to be if the shift is in their favour. Tech 2 getting quite soft over on the right hand side here, whereas we are next to Smeg in a fair amount of pressure right now. It'll be interesting to see if they favour that left hand side of the course after everyone got a little bit unstuck on the right hand side. From what we can see at the moment, it is pretty even across the racetrack at the moment.
Yeah, the breeze has gone back to lining up with the harbour a little bit and softened a bit as well. So this might be a little bit easier than the previous two beats, which have had various moments. But, the winning group would be feeling nervous now. Smeg's made big inroads, haven't they?
Yeah, they don't have a lot of room for errors now. Smeg is right on their tail, but they're in a pretty comfortable covering position. But as we saw, you know, sailing is usually simple, get in front, stay in front, but it's pretty hard to stay in front on a day like today. Anything can happen. It just really depends on your timing with the pressure. It's going to be about long-term linking those gusts of pressure together and not getting caught in those big lulls, which we saw happen last time.
Just looking down the track, Tech 2 on starboard, they're still fourth, but they're close enough to be in the contest for the podium.
On your screen now,
they're third. Sorry,
Smeg,
I stand corrected.
Smeg is easily crossing Tech 2.
Yeah. So you just see there in the background of Smeg, Tech 2 on starboard, about 5 boat lengths behind and about 10 boat lengths to winning group in front of Smeg. So it's a proper yacht race again. Winning group dicing with death a bit here on the right-hand edge, Lise, as well, going over to the ferry lane, and that doesn't usually end well.
Big pressure on that point, though, which is, I think, why they've gone in there. But no, if they go too far, they'll get too soft. So they've flicked over, as has Smeg below them. So they're pretty comfortable cover on Smeg with that lead.
But in turn being covered by the Manly Ferry.
But we I said it was quite even across the race course a bit earlier, but you know, it's really kicked up again, those huge pulses in pressure on winning group now in about 20 knots of breeze. This is where Tech 2 came unstuck before, so it's going to be watching for those huge shifts and making sure you anticipate them, which they've got a good one coming in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was pretty cruel what happened to Tech 2, wasn't it? But it's a westerly. It's not all that enjoyable if you're on the boat, I can tell you.
I mean, it's pretty fun racing and stuff like this because at least you know that there's overtaking lanes. But when you're in front, you're definitely going to be a little bit nervous.
Watch. So winning group tacking on the face of a left-handed puff. Fleet now quite spread out across the bay. Different views about what to do here. Tech 2 pretty much dead downwind and winning group.
Smeg choosing to take that left-hand side as is and do. So they had the gains on the left last time. It looks like they're trying to bank them again. on the left-hand side. Winning group keeping a cover on Tech 2 heading to the right again. So interesting choices there. Not sure I'd be wanting to go too far right if I was winning group, but is plenty of pressure on the right-hand side at the moment. But shift might be the issue as Andu heads all the way over to Clark Island.
A bit of a roll of the dice. And the smaller skiffs you can see on screen from time to time are the 12-footers from the state title at the Sydney Flying Squadron, one of the original 18-footer clubs on the other side of the harbour here. We still race there in the old historic 18s. Good sail yesterday. Get your body to the squatty, as we say. These guys putting it all on the black here. Winning group covering Tech 2, not surprisingly perhaps.
They're still happily in plenty of pressure, and I think that's sort of where they lost out last time. They just got a little bit soft, so they're probably just saying, as long as we're in pressure, we can keep heading this way.
Yeah, and possibly less tide and smoother water also on this side of the track.
I just had a look over my shoulder. Andu and Smeg that headed over to the left. They look like they're on a bad angle back to the right-hand side. So if I was winning group, I'd be pretty happy and comfortable with my position. But definitely wouldn't want to put too much money on a day in a westerly.
Yeah, no, I think winning group's going to lead by more here, and Tech 2's going to be second cleanly. Right now they're in a face of about a 25-knot path. Tech 2 on starboard. Down the creek a bit.
Probably see them go for another 30 and flick, because there does look like there's a big light pressure patch if they go too far right.
Maybe go towards this.
Tech 2 chosen to go back left. Looks like they are going to actually have a close cross with Smeg. I'm calling from my eyes that I think they're going to get Smeg in this cross.
Yeah.
It's going to be close.
No, they've crossed them. Smeg had to bear away. So
duck.
narrow lead. Now, funny things happening here now, Liz. Winning group in less pressure on the right edge. The guys in the middle of the creek with quite a bit more bruise. And the next big path is from the left. The winning group might be doing themselves a bit of an injury here, sailing out of the strongest wind.
Really interesting choice by them. I thought they would head back when Tech 2 head back, but there is some good pressure on their bow in about 10, and that is their ticket out of there. Really hard tack.
A difficult tack. Down pressure onto the face of the path. Have a look at that, Liz. That's how much a tack costs when it's not exactly right, okay? So that's where winning group is there, the committee boat for the 12-footer race. Chucky from the squatty. Go and say g'day. So I think that might have been a bit of bother there for the winning group.
I think the problem in a westerly like this is if you're trying to tack under the face of a gust, you've got to nail it. Otherwise, in 2 seconds, that pressure's gone and you're already looking for the next one. I think it's going to hurt, but it might just be enough. There's a big one.
Wow, it puts Tech 2 right back in the contest, doesn't it? So let's see.
They'll be pretty happy with that.
Big left-handed puff coming, like 20, 25 knots. We're on Smeg with winning group just in the background there, and Tech 2 in the puff on port. It's high left, so winning group had to duck behind a 12-footer on port tack, give it away a little bit. It's a yacht race.
So we really have three players here, Smeg, winning group and Tech 2. Smeg is definitely not out of this race by any means. Working this right-hand shore could be interesting.
And I think there might be an element of two sail in this last reach to the finish. Great last leg.
Winning group did cross Tech 2 and have continued to the left-hand side. Tech 2 in the middle of the course and Smeg far right.
Yep. So Tech 2, I think we'll be enjoying that to some degree. They've got a good-ish lay into the top mark. Probably got one more tack.
It looks like winning group is going to attempt the Port Hand approach to the top mark, which is a bucko favourite.
Port Hand ley line, perfect place. What could go wrong? It's all right.
Tech 2 and Smeg are going to have the next cross. It looks like it could be close as the angles are changing dramatically.
Oh.
And that is going to hurt. It was going to be close, but Tech 2 are a clear cross now.
It's amazing, isn't it? The Snakes of Ladder's got them. Tech 2 on the face of a beautiful puff. High left. So I think Tech 2 leads.
Winning's group, their bows down a little bit, so it looks like they've got a bad angle coming across back here, but yeah, would not want to be far left right now.
Yeah.
That one slow tack cost them a lot, so really should have headed back a little bit early to the left-hand side. Tech 2 just showing us, even with a little swim, they're definitely the ones to watch.
Yep, Tech 2 taking a bit of risk here though, going to the starboard tack ley line, but they just need one good puff and they'll be fine.
The top mark's definitely the most volatile place of the race course. It is quite light up here at the moment compared to before.
Yeah, and Tech 2 actually very conservative and careful there. Came back out into the better wind. Didn't like the look of didn't look like the look of being in the bay. And they're going to cross winning group.
It is still going to be close, but that's a huge loss for winning group. They're very soft. They're even, sending a man in the boat at the moment, just trying to hang in there. Tech 2 leading winning group back to the mark. And as we saw, it's all about timing here. So if winning group get a nice inside gust, they could be right in it at the top here. But does look like Tech 2 will sneak around just in front for the reach to Clark Island.
And with the light air, it's definitely a Spinnaker set. Breathe hard in the right on the right edge here. One of those puffs that's navigated itself through the little mini CBD of North Sydney.
The problem when you're so close to a shore like that is you can't really see the pressure until it's about to hit, so it's really hard to anticipate.
No, it's very tough. And right where we are, we're right at the windward mark in the camera cat. The breeze down to about 8 knots here temporarily, so difficult times for the crews. Winning group suffering in that. Tech 2 on the starboard tack ley line in not much wind. They need to be soft in their rig. They're just going to cross winning group here, but only just. Yep. Wow. And anybody can get the chute on promptly and hop on the face of the path. The race is theirs to win. And Ilvy in the mix here too, 1 lap in arrears. So Ilvy just behind the winning group there. Tech 2 leads, how about that?
Crawling to the top mark.
A little luff and then a bear away. Not too much wind, so regulation stuff here for these boys.
Andrew sneaking in big left-hand gains for them on Smeg. They will be in third. Ilvy is a lap behind. And Smeg may have to do the double tack to this top mark, and that is really going to hurt.
Yeah, so Smeg's had a pretty disappointing last 500 metres, haven't they? Tech 2, nice clean hoist. Andu also pretty clean hoist. It's a drag race to the finish.
Just rolling over Andu at the moment. They'll be pretty happy, comfortable in third place. And it looks like Tech 2 has rolled over winning group. But as we've seen so far in this race, the wind can evaporate and you can be in not much wind pretty quickly. So it's just about keeping the boat going as fast as possible right now but it's pretty hard for Winning Group to catch back up to Tech 2 on a run like this.
Yeah, it's a big test here of the Bowman in particular. The more sheet that goes in and out, the better.
There's a huge puff coming on the right-hand side, so both boats are going to hook into this pretty quickly, and it could make the finish a little bit interesting.
Get up.
Full noise. So I think it looks as if they will have to drop to get to the finish.
Well, we need to get up to Tech 2.
Winning Group sailing a little bit of a higher angle to try hook into this pressure, where Tech 2 sailing a lot lower and down the course. So two different strategies. Winning Group had to come high to get out of their gas, but are they trying to take the height early to get this finish while Tech 2 may have to do the drop?
I think they're both going to have to drop loose. And Winning Group's still sailing with every bit of bang on, which is pretty interesting and fairly high risk. Wow, rocking and rolling though. Here goes Tech 2 in for the drop. Lewis broke in the bow of the Tech 2, very strong young man.
Winning Group are going for their drop at the moment. Sammy a little bit tired from the cabinetry race. And it's going to be a pretty happy Tech 2. Good drop by both boats.
Get up the side of Tech 2 and line both up.
It's going to be a very close finish here, with both teams doing great drops. Winning Group just hooking into a little bit more pressure than Tech 2.
Tech 2's been pretty good at two-sail reaching historically. Oh, it's quite tricky. Depends on them, having the right amount of centreboard down and the right amount of hang off, more or less. Wow, fantastic action. Hot angle. Jib cars at full width. Camera cat at full noise. Boat speed at low 20s, 23, 24. Tech 2 just took it away. Little wing dip from Winning Group, just a little lull. Tech 2's going to win by 20 seconds or 10 seconds if they don't put the wing in the water.
Just getting a little bit light under Clark Island there, and Winning Group got that lull a little bit earlier than Tech 2, so comfortable lead by Tech 2, ready to take out another race in the New South Wales State Champs.
So that's the price of one wing dip, Lise, eh? Amazing, isn't it?
Winning Group is stopped dead in the water. They'll just drift over the finish line at the moment, but Andrew is coming in hot on their heels behind them.
So,
Andrew crossing now in third.
Tech 2 wins by 25 seconds. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Andrew third, about another 30, 40 seconds adrift. Smeg's going to be next, but perfect judgment there from the Tech 2 boys. When to drop.
Yeah, they took all the depth and then dropped, and it came out at a really nice angle, whereas Winning was probably sailing at that two-sail at a lower angle.
Yeah, they were trying to. Winning Group trying to sail with a lot of vang on, which can be okay, but can be difficult also.
Smeg coming in on your screen now to take out fourth place.
Yep, so Smeg from kind of being in the race for second with 500 metres to go in the beat had a couple of little misfortunes near the top of the beat and ended up fourth, about a minute 20 in arrears. And I think Appliances and Noakes will be the next two. Appliances coming downwind with a chute on. Good effort from those boys. First time they've had that lineup in the boat. Very trying testing day on the harbour today, coming at it at full noise.
having a pretty good ride there, but having to run in and drop the spinnaker to try get back up to this finish.
Yep.
It was really a day that the key was avoid those big lulls, because if you get stuck in them, you can't get out of them. That's really what cost Winning Group and Smeg. They just tried to dig into those shores a little bit hard, ran out of pressure, and that was it.
Yeah, and the boats are adjustable, but to some degree, because of the puffs up around the 20 knot range, the rig settings have to be fairly good for the puff. So by definition, they're not going to be too good in 10, and you can't go into the lull and get set up to tack and do everything else and adjust the rig all at once. It just isn't feasible. So appliances there, pretty solid fifth. And
interestingly, we'll try
notes in the no, yes, no, upright, yes.
Swing it down, Josh, swing it down.
I was going to say, Noak's doing the not very safe jibe. The unsafe
Interestingly,
jibe.
though, they've had to jibe and every other team has had to drop.
Yeah,
so
we don't know what happened to them on the rest of the run, though, do we? So they might have delayed the set at the top, you see, or not got the barroway done or something. Seems a long time ago. And Kitchen Maker will get, is that 6, Lisa, or am I counting correctly?
Yeah, I think we will be 6. They're also jibing down, so I suspect that they had that big light patch up the top, had to sail high, and I wouldn't want to be on port for too long, that's for sure. They've jibed back now, so they should get a clear run to the finish in plenty of pressure. They've got three men on the wire this time, so all guns blazing to the finish. Compared to the last lap, where it's like, let's just get around the bottom mark and then deal with it.
Yeah, nice bit of wind. Not 25, 20 knots. Perfect for this rig. Beautiful.
Pretty tricky day for a sailboat race.
Yeah, degree of difficulty probably between 8 and 9, do you think?
I'd say so. Shifts and pressure hard to pick, and a pretty big race course, so big pressure discrepancies across the course.
Yep, and some cruel bits of wind, one of which got Tech 2. Good effort from them to re-erect the apparatus and win the race. Winning Group looked a bit tentative up the last beat, didn't they?
Yeah, I think Tech 2 sailed a good upwind beat, but I think they made the big gains on that last downwind. They were absolutely hauling and basically sailed straight to the bottom mark, so their downwind speed is very impressive. So in first place we had Tech 2. Second place was Winning Group. Third, we had Andu. Fourth was Smeg. Fifth, Appliances Online. And sixth, Noakes. Seventh is Kitchen Maker. And then there is a huge gap to the rest of the fleet.
Majesty, there is no 8th, right?
The next part of the fleet, I don't think they're even rounded the top mark yet. So huge difference between the front of the fleet and the back of the fleet. But I would have to say that there are good battles going on at both ends of the fleet.
Correct, Lisa. Correct indeed. So, folks, I think that's about it for today. The Camera Cat, an interesting, frisky little westerly. Sydney Harbour in sparkly sunshine, though. Pretty nice looking pictures. On the Camera Cat, Vaughan Wildrich, John O'Witty, AeroMedia, Michael Chittenden, Lisa Dunman, and I'm Andrew Buckland. Hope you can join us same time next week. Last race before Christmas shopping has to be done. Thanks for watching.